morning, YouTube. You are on the lifeboat. This is Captain Calhoun speaking. What's going on? Good morning. Happy Sunday. Sunday is one of my favorite days. I tell you what. Robin Miners, Jason P., Kristen Melinda. What's going on? Good morning. Vampy, Diane Reese. Can't think of a better name. I don't know if I said Caitlin yet or not, but hello there. Renee B., Kristen Melinda. Good to see you guys. Welcome in. I figured we didn't really get to finish our conversation yesterday, so this is part two. There is a ton more to talk about. It's all pretty much in the same vein, right? But I even have some examples of ways we can practice changing our mindset. So I'm really excited to get through this stuff because, out of all the stuff we talk about, changing my mindset is definitely one of the most beneficial things. And now that that's coming out of my mouth, I feel like I say that about everything that I say, but I mean it. This being able to reframe your perspective in the moment is an undeniable skill, and it will benefit you super duper in sobriety. So let's talk about it on the path to recovery. Anderson's Danish, what's going on? Feisty Irish, good morning. Thanks for joining me, guys. Hope everyone's Sunday's going all right so far. I spent quite a bit of time with my cousins yesterday, pretty much all day. It was pretty cool. And they're in town for one more day. So I might, I don't know, we can paint, but I might not paint today. I might just go hang out with my family because I don't get to see them very often. When we pulled the plug yesterday, we were talking about focusing on growth, developing skills, recognizing and overcoming difficulties, blah, blah, blah. All right, we're going to start with building resilience. Because each challenge, this is part of reframing, right? Each challenge is an opportunity to strengthen our ability to cope, strengthen our ability to adapt, right? From that viewpoint, a challenge doesn't seem so bad anymore, does it? It could better me, right? It could make me better if I just look at it like this and use it this way. And that's the crux. That is the cornerstone of this whole idea, this whole concept, is how I'm interpreting a situation or a conversation or an event largely affects how I feel, right? And not just how I feel about this event, this conversation, whatever this is, how I feel in general, right? If I react poorly to a situation, I might carry that emotion or that reaction with me for the rest of my day. And, if I'm really not very good at processing emotions, I might carry that with me forever, right? Until I explode. I've seen it happen. So we don't want to do that. We would like to be able to shift our perspective, react or interpret information as it's coming in a way that's not going to, overload my circuits, right? So it's an opportunity. This is an opportunity for growth, right? For practicing versatility, right? We're going to celebrate small wins, right? We talk about this a lot, no matter how small. I won't spend too much time on that. Embrace failure as feedback is basically what we're talking about here, right? If I do fail, well, it's just a stepping stone, isn't it? Rather than viewing this as a permanent setback when I fail, right? Because it's not a permanent setback. One failure isn't going to hold me back. Analyze what didn't work and just adjust your approach for the next time, right? Fool me once, you know the saying, right? If you do it twice, you're not really learning from your mistakes, right? Or three times. And I mean, I shouldn't say that because I make the same mistake a ton over and over and over. That's how I learn. And I don't know why that is, but if we are present of mind, we may not have to beat our head against the wall, Kim, what's going on? Good morning. My stomach is upset this morning, guys. I tell you what, I don't think the coffee's helping. So I have some example scenarios here of reframing. I think you guys get it, but we're going to go through it anyway. So let's say I got pressure at work, right, to get a deadline, like a work deadline, right? I need this project in, today, by the end of the day, something like that. Instead of seeing it as overwhelming, because it is, right? It's not a lot of time to get this project finished. I shouldn't have procrastinated, whatever the case. I'm losing my place again. View it as a chance to sharpen your time management skills, right? Now, this sounds corny. I think everything we talk about, it sounds pretty kooky, but maybe that's why we're not so good at it. Maybe it's because we're judging it as a kooky thing. Because I have to say, all this kooky stuff has helped me a ton, but it definitely seems kind of corny, don't it? Use this as an opportunity to sharpen your time management skills. What if my example is relationship conflict? Me and my significant other are not having a good day, right? Well, frame this as an opportunity to improve communication and understanding, right? Maybe I'm just not hearing her. Maybe I'm just a little wrapped up in myself. And that's a weird thought to have. Like, maybe I'm being selfish right now. My initial reaction is probably going to be, no, I'm not. But well, let's just roll out the red carpet and see what we can do, right? Let's just pretend for a second maybe that could be possible. Let's try and improve our communication, improve our understanding of each other, and strengthen our relationship while doing it, right? And on a side note, if you're going to be arguing with your significant other, I highly suggest this old Italian trick. Hold each other's hands, sit down, and stare into each other's eyes. It's really, really hard to be mad in that position. It's really, really hard to not communicate effectively when you're sitting down with your significant other, holding each other's hands, looking into each other's eyes. It is very, very difficult, especially if you care about this person. Nigh impossible. In fact, this worked so well with Jessica and I that she would get up and and let go of my hands so that she could be angry. Super, super funny and interesting. I highly recommend you guys give this a go. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you give this a go. If you have to argue, right, with your significant other, if you have to have a disagreement, I mean, you guys love each other. You're just disagreeing on something. Sit down, hold each other's hands, look into each other's eyes, and feel that love. Kim says some of us are from the school of doubt and learned the hard way. You're in the right place. That's definitely me. I had an interesting conversation with my aunt yesterday. She asked me to come to church with them, and I said, I don't know. And she was like, "Why? What is it? You don't believe?" And I was like, "That's not it. That's not it at all." And she was like, "Well, what is it?" She was very, very pressing. She was pressing me, giving me the full court press, and I felt like I really needed to give her an answer. So I tried to come up with one, and what I told her was, "It's kind of corny. It's kind of kooky. This is the worst answer ever." Um, but I told her I think it's kind of kooky. And after saying that to her, I feel like a lot of the things that I do are pretty kooky. Like, this feels pretty corny. All these things that I say are pretty corny, even though they're life-changing things. It feels corny, right? So maybe going to church for me is just like a weird thing in my head. Anyways, that's not what this show's about. It was an interesting conversation though. I did not expect her to press me, you know? But she is a presser. She definitely is. All right. I don't think I will be going, by the way. I would like to go, like, just to, I think it would be a fun family activity. It would make everyone happy. It would probably make me happy, but I don't know if I will. Maybe for Christmas. Consider it so job loss. Let's say you lose your job. Let's say you get fired. I know TC is dealing with this right now. I don't think that she was fired or anything like that, but she's using job loss as an opportunity to explore new career paths, passions, get housework done, right? Organize for the season, sift through her personal life and kind of adjust things, right? Maybe losing your job is just what you needed to get your personal affairs in order, right? Let's just look at it from a different perspective. You might initially feel like I'm ignoring what's really important, which is me not having an income, right? But, obviously that's important. We're not going to forget about that, but let's just look at it as an opportunity. That way, when we're going out trying to get a new job or, trying to rectify, the lack of an income, we're not miserable. We're not feeling like we need to move very quickly, right? We're feeling like we're doing what we need to be doing, right? We're feeling like I'm exploring new things and I have time to catch up on stuff and just look at it from a perspective that benefits you rather than one that makes you stress. That's the point, right? Because stress is bad. Stress shortens your life, stress makes you feel miserable, etc., etc., right? We don't really need to break that down. We all know. Dale Cox, hello, hello. Good to see you, bro. Annika, good to see you. John Newby, Brianna Miller. And I imagine Flick's going to show up here momentarily. They like to show up in pairs. They do. James Collins, hello, hello. Thank you. me scroll up. You are soul. Thank you so much for your support. I really, really appreciate you. This keeps us going. And all of you newly christened members looking good in green, I have to say. Sid Green, welcome back. Oh no, you're good, Sid. I just roll with the punches, man. I'm glad you came back. I was hoping I didn't run you off. Sometimes my initial reactions are regrettable later, just like everybody. Becky USA, what's going on? I appreciate you saying that too, Sid. I think we're cool. I think we're on the same page. Flick Fox says, ha 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 ha. I'm walking home. I'll be in the chat in 5 minutes. We knew. It's good. It's good to hear, though. I'm glad you're going to be here. Glad you're going to be here. Just signed up. What does that mean? Says Kim. What do you mean? What do you mean? What does that mean? I just signed up. I think that you were gifted a membership is what happened, which just changes the color of your name. But if you're new to the channel, we here on the Lifeboat subscribe to doing a little bit better than we did yesterday, right? This is sort of a support group. A lot of us are in recovery. Some of us are not. And, when I say recovery, that could mean drugs, alcohol. That could mean, I'm an overeater. That could mean I'm a gambling addict, right? That could mean so many things. We're a bunch of quitters that are trying to better our lives. Usually quit has like a negative stigma, not on the boat. Not here. No, we like to quit. We like to quit things that don't serve us, right? We like to keep people around us that bring us up rather than bring us down. That's actually what part of what this show is about. Today, we're talking about perspective and the power of being able to reframe how you're looking at things. Kim, well, thank you. I love to hear this. I love this group. That's why I wanted to support y'all. She says, nope, I bought one. Well, that's fantastic. Thank you. It warms me up that you guys feel that this is such a benefit that you want to support us. That makes me all warm and fuzzy. Tampa B. Can't get closed captions. I wonder if I can fix that. I saw a comment on one of my dad's videos that said, thank you for the closed captions. I wonder if he hit a button or something. Let's see if I can do that. Let's see if I can hit the button too. I bet you it's just in my settings. All right, live, the one we're on now. And show me the closed captions button. Your video is currently processing. Please check back later. Oh, so after the live, YouTube's AI can put subtitles on it. But as we're live, it's not smart enough or powerful enough to do it as we're moving, as it's live. So I guess that's something for the replay. I wish that I could fix that for you now. Maybe there's a program or something I can get. I bet you there's AI powerful enough. I mean, AI is pretty quick and smart, and it's a thing now. They have it in the phones and the this and the that. I feel like this isn't such a tall order to be able to have subtitles live on. Tampa B knows. All right. Let's get back to the stuff at hand here, huh? So we just lost our job, right? We're considering it a chance to explore new career paths or passions, maybe button up some stuff. So we're talking about the concept, right, of reframing our thinking. Well, we would like to build a habit of reframing our thinking because that's how we're going to get good at it. That's how it's going to become something that we just do, right? Not something that we have to, consciously sift through and make happen. So building a habit of reframing. We want to practice. In order to do this, we're going to practice regular reflection, right? This could be the journal. This could be just talking to myself in the mirror. This could be just sitting down and thinking with myself, right? Maybe meditation, whatever. But we want to regularly reflect on how we're feeling, on how something went. There's always an opportunity somewhere to reframe your thinking in a more positive light, 100%. Especially, if this is a new concept, if this isn't something that you've been building a habit of for a long time, right? You're most likely going to find a ton of thought processes that are just habits that are not serving you. Or you'll find like reactions to situations that it's just like how you react, but now you're going to realize it's not serving, right? This reaction is actually making things more difficult for me. So, um, after facing these challenges, let's take time to reflect on what we've gained from the experience, what we could gain from the experience, maybe going about it a certain way, right? Let's also visualize success. Imagine how overcoming this challenge will positively impact my future. This will do wonders for your motivation, for your self esteem, for your confidence, for your general well being, for your mental health. Visualizing what's going to happen. Often, I was talking yesterday, I really enjoy strategy, is what I was saying. Often, if I really want something to play out the way that I've planned, because, well laid plans are almost useless because it's never going to go the way you actually planned. There's always going to be a curveball, right? And now I don't think well laid plans are almost useless, but that's just to illustrate that, there's always going to be something unexpected. Visualizing how things are going to play out is really going to help me keep it as close to my planning as possible. The same thing with this. If we can visualize where this new perspective could take us, right? Like again, let's go back to the most recent example. Let's say I lost my job. Well, if I can reframe my thinking and think like, all right, well, maybe this just isn't for me, or I have all this housework that needs to be done that wasn't going to get done, so I'll just go get that done. Well, let's take it a step further. What is that going to enable me to do, right? What's the importance or the significance of getting the housework done that I wasn't going to be able to get done, or prepare for the season change, right? It's going to be snowing or something. Well, I mean, that's going to allow me to be happier. It's going to allow me to have more, like, if my space is cluttered at home, right? Well, now it's not going to be. So I'm going to feel more secure at home, right? I'm going to be more productive at home because of that. And let's say for my job loss, I'm considering exploring other career options. Well, this is also going to enable me to apply myself to new thinking, new skills, new, right, whatever career I am considering. I'm going to have space and freedom to play around with that. And that's just one specific example of cleaning up the house after losing the job so that I can pursue. And that's a very complicated example, right? And very specific, but you can visualizing exactly what this perspective is going to bring me as far as benefit is going to help. It's going to make you feel good. Just go ahead and play the tape through. It takes 5 minutes. No big deal, right? It probably takes 2 minutes. Hand's not working too good today, Dale. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I am sorry to hear that. I didn't actually lose my job. That was just an example. Afternoon, boaters. What's going on, Andrew? Good to see you. Welcome in. I'm gonna have a little bit of coffee before we continue. Oh, couldn't find that word. James, check out this super sweet compliment, dude. I see brilliance comes naturally to you too. I love this statement. I love this sentence. I love how it's worded. I love that it's a compliment. This is just wonderful. This makes me happy. All right, all right, all right. I feel like my notes are trying to foil me. Every time I look away from my notes and I look back, I look at the same spot, which is the wrong spot. Maybe let's do this. I'm gonna shrink it and scroll. Alrighty, alrighty, alrighty. We just built some habits. We visualized success. All right, now we're going to use our affirmations. Another way that we can practice this, build this as a habit of reframing our mindset, right? Remind yourself, I'm capable of turning challenges into opportunities, which you are, which you are. In fact, as a human, you're capable of a myriad of things that you may or may not have considered. We are quite versatile beings. I mean, we have thumbs. That's got to account for something, right? But remind yourself, I'm capable of turning challenges into opportunities, right? Well, what about long term? This is all short term building habits, yada, yada, and whatnot. What about the long term impact of a healthy mindset, huh? Well, greater adaptability means greater success, which is what we're building. We're building greater adaptability in navigating life's uncertainties, which is going to be a constant. Life's always going to have uncertainties. We can't possibly see the big picture so well that we know exactly what's coming all the time, right? It's just that's a fallacy. That's never going to be true. So being versatile, right? Being able to roll with the punches. If something terrible happens, I can look at it in a slightly brighter light, right? Obviously, something terrible is something terrible, but we can bend it to our will. We can make it serve us by looking at it literally just by looking at it a certain way. Now, if your head isn't exploding right now, like, wow, I never realized that how I look at something could be so impactful, then I'm not doing a good job because this is I mean, when I discovered this, it literally blew my mind. It was absolutely crazy. And it wasn't the easiest thing to implement. But once I did, my life changed like 100% black and white. Um, it is definitely a skill to be cultivated. You're not going to just be able to reframe your mindset like all the time, right? You're not going to, I mean, maybe you are that versatile already. I'm sure someone is, right? But this is something we're going to have to work on. This is something that, again, we're going to have to build habits so that we have long-term impact. Now, the long-term impact, again, greater adaptability, we will also have a deeper sense of fulfillment and purpose, right? When something happens, I'm going to conquer it. I'm going to feel how I feel about it. I'm going to do that shift. It's going to fill me with purpose. That's going to fill me with, I conquered this. Good feelings, right? I did this. I'm unconquerable. I'm indomitable, right? It's going to feel good. Especially when, let's say, a situation is there's a certain situation that pops up now and again that's like the bane of your existence, right? This is something that happens and it just always ends badly, and maybe it's going to happen again, right? Well, if we learn to move through that situation, something that has plagued you for a long period of time, how's that going to feel? Now you're the master of this thing that was the master of you. I mean, it sounds simple and like obviously to me, right? But maybe that's just because I practice this stuff all the time because this stuff's so important. I wouldn't be here without being able to shift my perspective. That's for sure. I probably wouldn't be sober either. I don't know if I would have been able to make that phone call, you know? Also, we're going to be gaining the ability over time to inspire others by demonstrating resilience and optimism, right? In the face of hardship, displaying optimism is inspiring purely, right? All right. Well, we got through more of these notes than I originally anticipated yesterday, I guess. I do have more. I'm going to get into the chat, and then I have, where'd it go? I'm going to get into the chat and hang out for a sec, but I also have some practical exercises for us to play with. So we'll go through that in a second, but I'm going to hang out with you guys for a bit. Brown and Miller says, I hate change. It scares me. I like familiarity and my routine, but that gets me stuck in life, and that's my biggest problem. I have to say, this is not surprising. Our brains, especially like if you're like me, Brianna, which I think you are, your brain wants you to be comfortable. Your brain wants you to not work. Your brain wants you to just experience things that aren't surprising. It just wants to exist and be comfortable and not have to work super hard. That's the addict in our brain, right? Um, so I struggle with this all the time, like getting up, getting my butt into gear, right? And going and doing something. And also the unknown is scary, right? That's just hardwired into our DNA. Things that we don't understand or things that we don't know about are scary, right? The monster under the bed, aliens, right? I think that just as humans, things that are unknown are scary. And change is no exception. I can definitely relate with this, Brianna. And the only thing to do is to do it, right? Just one little thing at a time. It doesn't have to You don't have to undertake changing your whole life today, right? Maybe you just make your bed. Maybe you just, you go for that walk you really don't want to go for, right? Maybe could be anything, but like just making yourself do one little thing that will probably be good for you, but that you totally don't want to do, just one thing, it's probably a great place to start. And I hate feeling like I'm telling y'all what to do. You know what I mean? I'm only suggesting things from my experience. I want you guys to know that you don't have to do anything that I say. Tampa B man, we really appreciate you. I'm glad you're here. Sid Green says, I try not to take myself too serious. Depression is better called disappointment. Um, I used to work with horses, animals. Can you really, pardon me, I used to work with horses. Animals can really help with mood. They don't see kindness as weakness to be exploited. That's such an interesting um, statement. It's true. It's absolutely true. But, and a lot of humans definitely do see kindness as weakness, which is strange. But in a lot of circles, in a lot of places, that's definitely the predominant way of thinking, right? I have heard wonderful things about animals in recovery, horses, dogs, caring for another being, right? Like maybe at a rescue joint is something else. It's something magical. If you can get involved, in fact, I've thought about going and volunteering at the Humane Society, which is not too far from my place, and I think that I would love that. It would be good for me, good for my brain chemicals, good for my heart and my soul, and good for the animals. Someone would be around to help them. I'm sure they have people to help, but they survive on volunteers. So why not? Why not? James Collins says depression is fear of the past, anxiety is fear of the future. Love repels fear. As we heal with love, depression and anxiety flees in time, believe me. I love this. I love this statement. Laura Lou, Murph, what's going on, y'all? Good to see you. Welcome in. I'm happy you're here. We got through most of the notes. We're gonna hang out for a second, then go through some what were they called? Practical exercises to help strengthen a healthy mindset and practice reframing challenges. I've got a bunch of examples. Have a great day, Charlie. It's good to see you, man. All right. All right. All right. Daily gratitude. I think we've talked about this one before. Write down things that you're grateful for, right? Maybe three, maybe two, maybe one. The number is arbitrary, but write down some things in your journal because you're journaling, right? I hope so. Write down three things in your journal a day that you're grateful for. And repeating the same thing feels weird to me, but I feel like that's not really an issue because there's so many things to be grateful for, right? My roof, my relationship with my family, uh, my job, my relationship with my sister. I mean, I kind of doubled down there, but there's literally so many things. My freedom, my health. There's a billion things to be grateful for, but being conscious of what you're grateful for, expressing it out loud or expressing it by writing it down, takes it to another level. It brings it into a place where it can affect your life, your mindset, right? And also, when you write these things down, reflect on why it's meaningful. Reflect on why it matters. And the purpose of this is going to shift your focus to positivity and abundance. I pretty much just said that, right? Reducing your stress and your negativity. And this kind of comes down to we talk a lot about like positive versus negative. The more positive stuff I have in my life, the more positive people, the more time I spend in a positive energy, the more positive my life is going to be, period, right? And here come my negative friends. Well, why don't we just do away with those people so we don't have to, you know, undo all this positivity I've been building? And then maybe, I don't know, we don't need any more examples on that note. So here are some statements that can help jumpstart your reframing. What can I learn from this situation? Right? There's got to be a lesson that already puts your brain into a productive mode, positive. How might this challenge help me grow personally or professionally? Pretty self-explanatory. What strengths am I developing by facing this, right? How is facing this hardship making me better? There's probably a bunch of ways. We just haven't taken the time to think about it yet, right? What would I tell a friend who is in a similar situation? This one is the best one, in my opinion. This one's the best because I feel like I can always find solutions to my friends' problems, but for some reason my problems are much harder to solve, even though they're the same problems, right? I think that this is great because you kind of take your ego out of it. You take out the self, all the self-centered, whatever. You just take the self out of it. Now we're talking about someone else that you care about. If they were in this situation, what kind of advice would you give? All of a sudden, you're thinking about this in a logical light instead of an emotional light. This one is magic. I highly recommend that you do that swap in your head. Like, all right, well, what if this was happening to Jake? What would I tell him? I think that's a wonderful one. How will this experience make me more resilient in the future? That seems redundant. But again, how is this going to make me better? We can also flip the script. This is one of my favorite sections here. Write down the challenge you're facing. Divide the paper into 2 columns. We might need a visual here. I wonder if I could do this in Paint. Left column, list negative thoughts or feelings about your challenge, right? In the right column, write each thought to highlight the potential opportunities or lessons. So this is basically homework, right? But what's going to end up happening is you're going to write down all your thoughts and feelings, right, that are negative, and then on the right side, you're going to write how you feel about them, right? And put a positive spin on them by writing down potential opportunities or lessons that could come out of this negative thought, right? And then for an example, I failed at this project. I feel worthless. This project taught me what doesn't work so I can improve next time, right? This is just putting training wheels on the mind reframing, right? If you're struggling to wrap your brain around how exactly to do this, if you're struggling to implement it, right, maybe I would use these tools. Devil Doll, hello, hello, welcome in. James Collins says, if we cry from hate, anger, fear, or any of these types of emotions, we should dry these tears with paper towels as they are full of toxins. Our body is trying to purge. We reabsorb the toxins. I did not know this. And I didn't anticipate that comment was going in that direction when I first started reading, I have to say. What's going on, Christian? Welcome in. Tampa B says, my last journaling a few days ago was a novel. I'm exhausted. But don't you feel like all that kind of stuff is like moved around, right? You're probably exhausted because it's exhausting work moving all those emotions and all those thoughts and all that trauma and this and that, right? Thank you guys so much for shouting our names from the mountaintops. I really appreciate that. What a proof. What am I listening to? This is like an ambient garbage. You have to take that off of that playlist. It's like 20 minutes of ambient. And it's like kind of cool when it starts, but 15 minutes in, you're like, is this a song or is this random noise? Well, guys, what about some visualization practice, huh? For this, I would suggest sitting in a quiet place, closing your eyes, visualize yourself successfully. This is kind of meditative. Visualize yourself successfully overcoming the current situation, right? Visualizing. Getting sidetracked. Getting sidetracked. So you're going to sit in a quiet place, close your eyes, right? Visualize yourself successfully overcoming the current challenge. Imagine the steps you took, the skills you used, and how you felt after succeeding. Now, again, this is all in your head. So you're going to imagine overcoming this thing successfully and then how it feels to succeed, right? Now, this is meditations like this are interesting because I feel like it can have a large effect on your mental and your physical, but also it can also be hard to get that out of it sometimes. But it's definitely a good exercise, even if you don't get like physical chills, like in goosebumps from the feeling of succeeding that didn't actually happen. It's just in your head. You're still going through the exercise of how it's going to look, right? So it's still beneficial, even if you're not getting some crazy reaction, right? Which also can happen. And the purpose of this is to build confidence and create a roadmap for action. Often I have a hard time deciding. I have a hard time choosing which direction to go, what to do. Visualizing, right? Having a mental roadmap of like where what I could do and what I could where I could take this helps me a ton in deciding at the very least. Back to affirmations for a healthy mindset. You can write or say these, right, daily to reinforce positivity and resilience. Some examples are: I'm capable of turning setbacks into stepping stones. Every challenge I face is an opportunity to grow stronger. I am learning and evolving every day. Now, this is true for all of us, right? Why not say it out loud? It's empowering. And we use these in front of a mirror or write them down on sticky notes where we'll see them regularly, right? Because when I see something with its words, my brain just reads it and it's like an automatic thing. I'm automatically downloading an affirmation. It's pretty cool, pretty diabolical. I love it. Growth journal. Thank you guys for facilitating. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate you guys. I tell you what. At the end of each day, write answers to these questions in your growth journal, right? This is just your journal. Is there a master's degree in mindfulness? Asks Tampa. There should be. I have to say, there's probably some monk wearing orange robes. He's just ripped, somewhere on some mountaintop, just being super mindful. I always picture monks super like stoic, but also completely ripped, just Hercules muscles. All right, anyways, the growth journal. At the end of each day, let's write some answers to some questions. The questions are: what challenge did I face today? This is great. I'm going to start doing this. What did I learn or gain from this experience? And how did this challenge help me grow? Now, this is going to reinforce our habit of reflecting on challenges as opportunities. If this isn't already automatic in your brain of reflecting on challenges that you faced, I highly recommend doing this at the end of the day, writing down the challenges, right? And, you know, what did you learn from it? How did it help you grow? This is just an exercise to get your brain moving in that way. Eventually, you won't have to do this. Your brain will automatically do this. This will just be a habit, right? Something that we do. Bum, bum, bum. Practice mindfulness in the moment. Now, this is what it's all about, right? We want to be able to do this on the fly. Otherwise, it's useless. What to do? When faced with a stressful situation, pause and take 5 deep breaths. This is super corny, but it works. Ask yourself, what's one small constructive step I can take right now, right? Because we don't need to solve the whole equation. We don't need to save the world. We don't need to change our lives right in this moment. We just need to take a step forward, right? So, in a stressful situation, take a moment, take some breaths. What's one small constructive step I can take? And that's all it takes, right? And then you put another foot down and another foot down, and it's just one thing at a time, right? Break it down into small, manageable steps. This is going to reduce our impulsive reactions and create space for more thoughtful response, which, again, you can't be emotional and logical at the same time. For some reason, our right and left brain, they're good friends, but one of them likes to run the show. This is scientifically proven, right? What was the point of saying that? This is going to enable us to shift between those, hopefully consciously, right? If we catch ourselves in a reactive mode, whatever, if we catch ourselves reacting, we hopefully can just flip a switch, right? Consciously become logical instead of emotional, which is obviously way more difficult than it's easier said than done, right? But this is something that I do. This is something that I practice. This is something that I have success with, and you can too. And it might come easy. It might take some practice, but I tell you what, it's going to change your life. I promise. And reducing my impulsive reactions was one of the most beneficial things I could have done for myself, because my impulsive reactions have gotten me into a ton of trouble. I tell you what, strength identification exercise. Think of a past challenge you successfully overcome. Identify the strengths, skills, or qualities you used to overcome it, and reflect on how you can apply these same strengths to your current situation, right? This is, in a nutshell, like what to do when you're feeling reactive or emotional, right? Well, hey, I have these skills. I've done this before, or I've done this in a different situation. Why don't I apply that here and see what happens, right? Taking your logic back, taking your power back from your emotions, right? That all of a sudden want to run the show in the face of this whatever, right? This travesty that my ego just can't possibly handle. Well, let's take our power back. Let's be logical, right? How are we going to move through? I have skills, I have strengths, I have qualities that I have used in the past to overcome stuff like this or other things, whatever, right? Let's apply them here and see what happens, right? Center yourself, change that mindset, succeed. What if reframing? This is an interesting one. Instead of thinking, what if this goes wrong, ask, what if this goes right? This is a glass half full versus glass half empty thing, right? Obviously, it's better to be positive. It's better to be a glass half full kind of guy because you're going to be happier. It's just how it works. So instead of asking, what if this goes wrong? Ask, what if this goes right? Imagine the positive outcomes and opportunities that could result from the challenge. Nothing good came easy. So a challenge is just exciting through that lens, right? And this will shift your focus to optimism and possibility rather than, I'm going to run out of milk in a couple sips. My glass is about to be empty. I got a whole jug in the fridge. I can't wait to fill this sucker up. Now, acts of kindness. If you're like me, you could be a lot kinder to yourself. Now, I'm not unkind to myself. Well, I guess I am, but I don't want you guys to think that I'm constantly beating myself up, but this is something that I struggle with. And if you're like me, you might, be able to be a little nicer to yourself sometimes too. If this is the case, let's do something kind for ourselves, right? This could be as small as taking a break, reading a book, your favorite book, even, right? Or enjoying a hobby. Simple, right? But often entertainment, play, what I call recharging my battery, right? Becomes, at least in our society, kind of swept under the rug. It's not as important to corporations whether I get to recharge or not. You know what I mean? That's not going to help their bottom line, but it's going to help my bottom line. So, again, take your power back, treat yourself real nice. You can take a break, read a book, enjoy a hobby, do something that's purely for you. Do something selfish. Yes, I did say that. Do something selfish. And I don't mean something at someone else's expense, but do something that's purely for you today, every day, but definitely today. Do something for you. And I call this being selfish, right? Obviously, being selfish has a negative connotation normally, but we can't forget ourselves. We are numero uno, right? And just because society doesn't value me taking a break and me recharging and me being happy doesn't mean that I don't have to, right? In fact, happiness is one of the top priorities for me because it makes everything else on the list work smoother. Literally, if I'm miserable, it's good. I don't know if we got any nerds in here. If you play games like Civilization, something like that, if you don't have enough power for your city, all the production goes down because the conditions go down and people are unhappy. If you're unhappy, you're less productive. That was a terrible nerdy example metaphor, but suffice it to say that if you're unhappy, you're less productive. That's just how it goes. So kind of lost my place there with that civilization reference. Ba. This is going to reinforce the importance of nurturing your emotional health, which especially during challenges, you want to be of the utmost emotional and mental health possible, right? You want to be equipped to deal with these things. I also have some role plays in here. I don't know if we'll do that today. We talked about that a ton already. This is a good one. Backgammon is a family tradition around here. You guys talking about backgammon? I'm a pretty mean backgammon player. My dad is meaner though, for sure. Next time you guys see my dad, ask him about backgammon. He loves backgammon. What a weird named game. All right, so we want to seek inspiration from our role models, right? Obviously, that's why they're our role models. Read stories or watch videos about people who turned their challenges into opportunities. I guess that's what you're doing right now. But there are tons of examples of this. You can probably find an example of this with something that has nothing to do with recovery, right? You could probably find an example of this in your line of work or in line with one of your passions, or maybe even like a firsthand account from a friend or a family member. I think that overcoming challenges is something that we do as humans. That's a human trait. So draw inspiration from, the examples right in front of you. There's a ton of people on the boat that have overcome challenges. There's your family members and your friends, again, the people in your life, maybe your coworkers, even. Everyone has their own story. I think it's really, really cool to hear other people's success stories because it really makes me feel good. It's like, heck yeah, I feel empowered just off of that, just off of your story. It's a really cool thing. And we reflect on how their journey inspires us to approach our situations differently, right? Obviously, this is going to demonstrate overcoming adversity is possible and provide actionable insights. That's why we share experience instead of like making suggestions. I know I make a lot of suggestions, but they're all from a place of experience. That way we can, it's providing actionable insight, right? You can decide whether or not that applies to your situation or not, right? But there is, there's action that can be taken. What kind of role play? Not that kind, Dabble Doll. Unfortunately, we're not having that much fun, but we are having fun. This role play was, let's see, be a little serious for a second. I don't want to do any of these. I'm just going to say that right now. But that's probably because they're super helpful. That's usually my initial reaction to things that are very helpful. I don't want anything to do with them. That's something I've learned about myself. I have to come to the table. I have to warm up to the idea. And maybe you're like me too. But so this role play says, imagine your mentor advising someone else on your challenge. So whatever's challenging you, imagine whoever your mentor is advising someone else on the same challenge. What advice would your mentor give? What encouragement or reframing would that mentor offer to your friend, right? Now apply that wisdom to yourself. Again, this is just taking the self out because the self is often the confusing factor, right? If we can just think about this exact situation with someone else, all of a sudden I'm gaining new understanding and I'm able to look at it critically without the emotion because it doesn't affect me, right? Now, this is a wonderful trick. This in itself is reframing. This in itself is changing your perspective, right? I'm going to look at this as if it weren't me, as if it was somebody else. Um, yeah, I think you guys get it. Got y'all excited. Maybe maybe we could do some role plays another day, eh? I don't know if that would be very lifeboat of us today, but I will be rolling out my own channel here soon. I'm just kind of buttoning up the ideas and the plans for it. Whenever you guys see me pop up in the chat as Spanx Calhoun, that's going to be my channel. I'm going to change the name. I'm gonna do a bunch of stuff to it. Right? We're probably going to call it Calhoun's Corner, and I won't have to. I mean, I don't know how to say that. When I'm on the boat, I'm upholding, certain standards that are necessary here. At Calhoun's Corner, I'm not going to cuss up a storm, but I'm not going to worry about my clean mouth, right? On at Calhoun's Corner, also, I'm not going to worry about whether people are staying or going, right? The purpose of Calhoun's Corner won't be to better people's lives, right? So then, here that's the purpose. So I have to maintain I have to abide by a certain set of rules, and which is great, it's wonderful, it serves a purpose. But at Calhoun's Corner, I'm going to go there to relax, and so we could role play there. Suffice it to say, is what I'm trying to say. We can do whatever the heck we want at Calhoun's Corner. So we'll get there. We'll get there. Oh my, you guys still talking about pizza over here? Brianna Miller and Flick Fox have been arguing over a few day period of time. Actually, I don't know how long. For all I know, this has been a thing. But Flick is of the opinion that tuna belongs on pizza. Brianna and I are having a very hard time wrapping our brains around that. Blessed to crochet. I hope you're driving safe. I hope your trip was wonderful. It's good to see you. I'll end up putting up a link to Calhoun's Corner. I noticed. Where is it? Kim asks right on where at. I'll get bleh, tongue tied. I'll get all of that information up there, out there somewhere, but it's not happening right this second. I'll make sure y'all get the memo though. It'll be in the community section. It'll be in the chat. It'll be everywhere. We're gonna try and make sure everyone gets the memo because I think some of y'all want that. I don't think it's just me. I think some of y'all want to go do that too. So I'll make sure you hear about it. That is what I have prepared for you today. Now it's Sunday, so definitely treat yourself real nice today. Maybe put your feet up, leave them there a little bit. You deserve it. Also, I'm really excited to do some mundane adult things. I'm going to do some laundry today, maybe a little floor scrubbing on the hands and knees. That'll be good. It'll feel real nice in here when it's done. But other than that, my family's in town for one more day. I got to spend a ton of time with my cousins yesterday, and I grew up with them when I was really little, and then I disappeared out of their lives. So it's really cool to reconnect with them. My one cousin, who's my age in particular, we hella bonded when we were kids, and maybe we were just meant for each other. But my one cousin is especially special to me. I mean, they're all special to me, but I got to hang out a ton with her yesterday, and got to talking about stuff, and it was really cool. I have to say, I had a heart to heart with my aunt yesterday as well about Papa Scoville. It was a very heartfelt, teary-eyed conversation. I think that this side of the family is definitely still healing from that experience. Whenever Papa Scoville's name's brought up, everyone's eyes get teary. It's a little rough, but that's something that I'm uniquely equipped to. I don't know what the right word is there, but a I have a way of navigating those conversations, and I think helping the situation. And I don't know why that is, but I do this for my sister as well. She'll call me and tell me about all kinds of really, really heavy, rough stuff, and we just kind of talk through it. And maybe it's all the hardship that I've faced, right? Maybe that conditions me or something. I don't know, but I feel uniquely equipped to have conversations like that, and I definitely feel like we're all better for it afterwards. I'm curious to talk to Auntie Scoville today and see how she feels now. I mean, obviously, I didn't cure her of her pain and suffering, right? But we had a really great conversation. Pathos, that's right, you are Saul. That was one of my favorite lessons. That was a senior year, I think, English class. That's when we learned that. I don't know why it took until senior year. Ethos, pathos, and I forget the other one. Appealing to the sensibilities is what we're talking about. It's nice to meet all you new boaters. Murph, Devil Doll, heck yeah. Kim, it is awesome to make new friends. I tell you what. Will I have guests on Calhoun's Corner? Yes. Yes, I will. I have a really hard time. I I struggle with this. I struggle with guests. I want to do interviews. I want to do this. I want to do that. But when it comes time to actually plan and take action on it, I struggle. I struggle really, really hard. I feel like I'm taking on too much and I'm going to fumble it. And that's just a fear, right? That's not necessarily real. So that's something I'm going to need to work through, but it's 100% on the agenda. If I'm not stretching my legs and spreading my wings, I'm screwing up. So this is how we're going to go about it. I have a bunch of ideas about the people that I want to have on. And it's not going to be a guest centered thing, but it's definitely going to be something we do. We can do whatever we want, so why the heck not? Who's JC? I've seen this name come up a bunch today. Am I reminding you all of someone? Thank you, Devil Doll. I appreciate you so much. Doing a Christmas connection on my channel every day during December to keep connection going. Well, heck yeah, Mary Jones. That's what I'm talking about right there. My mod. Oh, James Collins. You guys just call him JC. I'm still on that full name train. You know what I mean? Not on purpose or anything. I just didn't realize that I know who James Collins is, guys. I just don't know who JC is. JC Custom Welding is a company I used to work for. When you say JC, I think of my old foreman Charlie. He used to call me Skip and tell me to get down in there and dig some holes. That's what he used to say to me. Skip, we're gonna turn in your hard hat. I haven't thought about that guy in a long time. Do my dad as my first interview. It'll be comfortable and both of you will be engaging. Definitely not a bad idea. I don't think that like nervousness is gonna be the end of me with the interviews. It's just like coming to the table and doing it. Once I'm sitting at the table and the light goes red and we're live, I'm good to go, right? And whatever happens is going to happen. But like organizing, planning, um, making something worthwhile out of the interview, right? Like what kind of questions am I going to ask? That part is the part that's difficult for me, or maybe not difficult, but like just more difficult for me. Um, because that's all like solo in my head. I need to be motivated and focused. Like those are my weaknesses. So I'm sure I can conquer it. I'm sure we can get it done. And I've done some interviews, right? We did Tara Smiling. Maybe that's the only one I have done. That might have been my only interview. I would definitely be down. Sorry, it took me a second to bring my brain back around full circle in that conversation. I would be super down to have James Collins on. Like that sounds like a blast. In fact, I already have a billion questions that I would ask him. James Collins has been a member of the boat for not a ton of time, right? One of our recent acquisitions, but I have to say, immediately right at home, and always has sometimes the sweetest things to say of all time, and sometimes just like deeply insightful. Just always with the bombs, you know, always dropping the C4 on us, which is really really cool. I'm into it. But also, what a character. You know what I mean? What a character. I have a billion questions. I want to know how you became the person you are today. You know what I mean? I know you didn't start this way, as none of us really did, right? So, anyways, I think that's a great suggestion. I don't know who suggested that, but wonderful suggestion. I do also find a sense of kinship with James Collins. He definitely reminds me of myself with some of the things, some of the conversations that we have in some regards for sure. But again, you know, I don't know James Collins very well. I think an interview would serve to bridge some gaps, right? A new path is always mysterious until you look behind. What's behind door number one? It's James Collins. That's hilarious. I crack me up. This coffee is fantastic. The Mexican food store across the street. Is that what it's called? There's a store across the street called Quesadillas, and they do Sonoran hot dogs and quesadillas and all kinds of food and stuff. But they had coffee beans next to the register the other day. I went over there for lunch, and stuff is delicious. Bob Ross's son. What an idea. I don't know if Bob Ross's son would have any interest in speaking with me, but I would definitely be interested in speaking with them. I might have to look up their channel. They have a channel, don't they? I feel like Bob Ross's son is out here doing stuff. I'll have to figure out what they're up to. That's an interesting idea. Miss Dragon, I saw your name. I don't know how I forgot to say hello to you. How are you? It's good to see you. Glad to meet you too, Marf. I hope you have a good day. We're about to wrap it up anyways. I'm just kind of hanging about, you know. It's hard to say goodbye. Goodbyes suck. It's a see you later, right? It's not a goodbye. Have a great day, dude. Thanks for hanging out. Could you imagine if they were called quesadillas and didn't serve any? Absolutely. That was a joke that I told myself when I first saw, like, when you see a business and their name is like a food item. Well, do you sell anything else? That's my always my first thought. You guys just a quesadilla specialty, or no? They have a bunch of stuff, which I was surprised. I thought it was going to be straight up quesadillas. It's a catch you later. That's right. All right, y'all, hit that like, subscribe, boop, over here, the bell for notifications. If you like what we do here, it certainly makes a big difference for us. I may or may not be painting later today. I want to, but I also, if my family wants to hang out the last day that they're in town, I'm gonna do that because I miss them. So, but we'll see. I may do an impromptu paint session later. Keep an eye out. Otherwise, um, tell the admiral I said hello, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. All right. This has been the Lifeboat with Captain Calhoun. Shout out to all the mods, all the crew members, everyone that was here. You guys are the best. I love you guys. Yeah, we'll see you later. Much love. Be good to yourself today. Don't forget, you deserve it.